What's happening, Hoggy?
Calvary's here. How you been?
You know,
Thought we'd fix the
different smell. Living the dream.
groundhog problem.
You doing, brother? Yeah, what's going on, brother? What's happening,
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you. Oh, yeah.
Shoot some guns and
Blow some shit up.
I'll grab my pistol and meet
What
you
you
up
got?
at the deck.
What kind of members would you recruit for your organization?
No black.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd like to be the first recruit.
Yeah, the very first rule would be have to be of European Aryan descent, I would say.
What does that stand for?
It stands for fuck the world. And we've also sloganed it, have people have said for the whites. The AK-47, that's my favorite weapon.
So this is actually a bomb. What could you do with it?
You can blow up a building,
They're
cars.
from demolition to animal eradication. They can take down anything, really.
You never know what the future brings, right? I'll tell you right now, we'll be ready and waiting for it. And when it comes, a sick little part of me in a way kind of hopes it happens someday. And, you know, I welcome it with open arms.
Co-founder of B&B Productions, ready to set off a tannerite.
Anytime.
We try to practice at least 4 times a month, you know, and that's the low side, you know. Locke, you got your phone? You want me to take a video with you?
Well, that's a fucking boom, buddy.
That's fucking awesome. There's nothing left there.
What do we say?
Well, white lives matter, too.
Nice.
Pig. Get back. They act like they ain't ate in years every time they eat. The restaurant that my wife works at, we get scrap food from there, so I feed them regular scraps from the restaurant, and then I also feed them grain and corn.
As a child, I saw skinheads assault a black man just because of his skin color. The attack terrified me. And since then, I've been curious to understand what makes some people hate others based on race alone. My curiosity led me into the white supremacy movement, with the intention of writing a book and doing a documentary movie about why more Americans joined hate groups. But when I met the leader of the Ku Klux Klan in Michigan, an unlikely friendship began, and I got personally involved in the story.
Steffen, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Pleasure to meet you. Yes, you as well.
Thank you for having me here.
Absolutely. This is my home.
After 10 years, it would turn out that I had been walking in the footsteps of not only a friendly, but also dangerous extremist. And I had it all on tape.
I'm recording.
What was going on with the fire over there?
I burn all my paper mail.
Why?
Just afraid of the government or somebody going through my mail, and I don't want anybody going through my mail. You know, in the past, they've gone through people's trash to, you know, get info on them and get into their personal livelihood and stuff. So all my mail and personal issues I burn.
Jason gladly told me about the joy of living in the countryside. And to him, that meant being far away from people of other races.
There is a lot of riff-raff, and we used to not have any niggers live around here at all. Mexicans are starting to move in, so I don't care for it at all. You know, the crime rate's coming up, and of course, you see them with the white women all the time, you know, and to me, it's a genocide to both of our races. I just don't understand it. This is it. This is what I nicknamed when I was with an MC, a motorcycle club, an outlaw motorcycle club. I always went by the nickname Bird, so I like to call this the Bird's Nest.
Okay.
Someone I guess you'd call a man cave. This is where we come hang out. We got a heavy bag for training for martial arts and boxing, and white supremacists and me come and reminisce and talk and sometimes hold meetings and catch up on current events. And
So, I see you've got a lot of things here on your walls that would offend quite a lot of people. What is it?
it's just all the guys that have battled and have been killed by the government and died for what they believe in. I feel that we need to honor them. These are that's a target from the shooting range. We do a lot of shooting and practicing and preparing, you know.
And what are you preparing for?
Well, we believe that, we call it Rahowa, and we believe it's going to be a racial holy war someday, eventually. We deal with these motherfucking flies, and it's toward the end of the year. So, look at that, killed him on my Klan shirt. Get your black ass the fuck off there. This is my favorite. Cops see it, they think it's just a flashlight. But if I push it up against somebody, and first thing it does is makes all their muscles contract a really weird way. And then it takes the air out of them. And if you continue to use it, they actually lose control of their bowels, actually piss themselves.
Since I was a kid, growing up in Denmark, I've been fascinated by headlines across the world. My passion for stories led me into investigative journalism in college, and now my job takes me around the world uncovering what drives people to hate. I've met with militia groups, inmates on death row.
My life in here, no, it's not worth living. Like I said, I hate every day of this.
And reformed KKK Imperial Wizard Scott Shepherd.
And Scott, what does Rebecca mean to you today?
Oh, Becky. Becky means more to me than anything that I could think of. I guess Becky's my mom.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But Jason is the most complicated and hateful man I've ever met.
You know, I've been an angry person my entire life, and I always welcomed any fight or anything like that, you know what I mean? It never bothered me. I never had a fear like most people probably have, like a fear of maybe getting their ass kicked by somebody, you know. I never had that. I never gave that a thought. This is me and my cousin when we were getting charged for the beating of the cop. That's my cousin and the cop. this was the KKK auction, you know, and then I put an arrow with my head. I was in the front row, you know, and then see the picture? I had gotten a bar fight at a bar with a guy, and he was black, and he ended up, come to find out, was an off-duty state trooper. And yeah, there was a lot of controversy with it. It was really high publicity, and that he was dancing with a woman that was white. It was immediately portrayed as you know, white supremacist attacks, black off-duty state trooper for dancing with white women. You know, it was instantly, immediately made that that it was done all because of race. I would like to get all the Muslims and just any non-European blooded person out of here, yeah. They all bitch about it. They all want it. Well, make America the white homeland and everybody go back to your fucking countries. Go to Korea, go to Japan, go to China, go to Mexico, go to Africa, go to all your fucking disease-ridden, poverty-fucked up places and then leave us alone. They held an auction, and this was me, and I bought a picture doing a cross lighting. It wasn't because he was black. Do I not like and dislike blacks? Absolutely. Do I not like interracial stuff? Absolutely, I don't like it, you know? And did I call him a nigger when I was fighting with him? I'm sure I did. It was all bullshit, you know? Then going to prison and seeing, you know, really how fucked up, you know, niggers really are, you know, and people say there's blacks and niggers and that. Well, I'm here to tell you, prison is full of niggers, you know what I mean? So it was a fucking mess. There was a lot of horrible shit that I had seen, you know, and heard, you know, young white boys getting raped by, you know, by a gang of fucking animal niggers. When I was in the motorcycle club was the time before when I had used them, you know, club on club.
I was horrified by Jason, telling about the hate crime he committed.
These were my shorts because it's got my number on them.
But it was even more shocking, realizing how he hadn't learned anything from his prison sentence.
It just really kind of, almost in a sense, made me think, okay, well, you guys are portraying me as this big fucking hardcore, but now you've created it. So I, you know, joined a white supremacist gang in prison, and when I got out, I followed through with it. That's the IKA compound in Kentucky.
After being released from prison, Jason got more involved in the white supremacy movement.
This guy now is married to a nigger, so he probably is one that don't need to be in there.
Jason quickly rose through the ranks of the Ku Klux Klan.
Jason Barker, Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan, Michigan, with the Nordic Order Knights.
But to him, that was not enough. He wanted his own militia.
America has turned so fucking weak. I think if it was a real-life situation, this fucker wouldn't be having a good day. In case he had a bulletproof vest, I wanted to do the other kill shots, which, you know, obviously, the face, beautiful shots. And then I got each leg to get an artery, and then I got the groin, and then I got the lower abdomen, which every single shot's textbook kill shot.
This is the most commonly sold gun in America, is the Glock 19.
Made in Austria, just like Adolf Hitler. That's why we love him so
Comes from
much.
Germany, yeah.
Yep.
No, Austria.
Yeah. Well, Austria,
Fucking thing, yeah. The country's really going to hell in a handbag. Come on, fucker. Yeah, then just stand to one side of us so you can see it. I gotta rack this, brother. Ready?
Yes.
Ready, Red?
Breach the room on 3.
1,
1, 2, 3, go.
Nice.
Forget this shit. Just shut it off. We'll do it later.
Jason was born and raised in Michigan and making a living as a construction worker.
Nice deer.
At the age of 40, he was a father of 4 children with 3 different women.
Jason crying.
Daddy Bush, I love you. We're supposed to be together forever, Daddy.
Still recording though.
When I got divorced, I got really fucked up, drinking. Me and my brother, or cousin, he does tattoos. And I said, I want to get a tattoo for like a divorce present to myself. And I think someone else said, you should get, I hate my baby's mama, you know? And I said, it sounds fucking too ghetto. So we come up with, I hate my kid's mom. And then over the time, I ended up finding out that I had another baby. And it was with a girl that I had a one-night stand with when I got out of prison. So I find out that I had another girl. So I added an S to it. So it says, I hate my kids' moms, you know. Guys love it, want to get pictures of it. Women hate it. Go get my daughter off the bus now. Better shirt, the military one. I think it'd be more of a fatherly. Don't want them to see me with the SS shirt, so.
Yeah.
I had spent a couple of days with Jason, and I had learned that though he had already been convicted of one hate crime, he might be more dangerous to society than ever before. But I had also seen traces of a soft, loving father.
Thank you, you too. Yeah, now listen, you gotta pay attention to the bus driver. Okay? Look up at the bus driver so we get used to what we do, okay? Now we look up at her, see her hand? She looks both ways. Now she says you can go. Thank you. Awesome, what you got, baby?
I got some popcorn.
Some popcorn? I would never want her to see or witness the stuff I have. I would never push her to have my views, you know. As far as I never want her to date outside of her race. And what's going on? Hey, Bubby. Happy 6-month birthday. Okay. 6 months birthday.
You look like one of them retards.
I returned a broom about you.
Hey, there's a bottle of bubbly. Can you talk to that right?
Okay, ready, Bush? I got it.
All right, then. We're gonna bust a window. We're gonna bust a window. Woo!
Say hi, Bubby. That's a good hi. Come on. We gotta get our God's nectar, our cherry Coca-Cola. Okay, come on.
Are you famous?
So you're going to be with Dad.
Ice cream.
I'm sure that just the way the day and age and times are, that my children are gonna grow up and see and be around anger and violence anyway, just because the world's full of it. And I do my absolute best to keep it away from her.
Yeah. Then gonna bite him.
Yeah, the lion started.
And then him said, I bet you tried it to.
Yeah, Dorothy said, "You tried to, you mean old lion?" And he started crying, and he said, "But I wasn't going to." Yeah, it's from the movie Wizard of Oz. Yep, with East and the West are the wicked ones, and then there's a good witch of the North, right? And they didn't say nothing about the South, racist bastards. Okay, go see your dog, and then put her in the put her in Mom and Dad's room, okay? I am a very strong, family-oriented person, you know. But if any of them were gay, I would disown them. I would have nothing to do with them. It would break my heart. It would walk on our family name. It would, you know, go against God. It would go against everything. So I would disown them if they were gay. I kind of make sure and watch to what my daughter sees on TV, because I don't want her brainwashed, poisoned by today's media with, you know, believing that gay and transgender and all that filth is okay or accepted, you know.
The crimes of the Nazis have always affected my own family. My mother and father grew up during World War II, and both sides of my family were involved in the fight against the Germans who occupied my native country, Denmark. My grandfather was nearly executed by the Nazis, and he barely escaped while members of his resistance group were killed, executed in cold blood by the roadside. Afterwards, my grandfather lived underground for years, away from his family. Today, my parents still remember the pain caused by the Nazis.
Hey, mellow, mellow. Okay, I'm gonna come that way. Quit choking yourself. Come on. I named this one Dachau, and I'll probably name the big one down there Auschwitz. That'll be the big one, so I'll name it Auschwitz after the big main concentration camp, because the Auschwitz was the main extermination camp. There's just a lot of documentation that I'm coming across and that I've been turned on to that just kind of disproves a lot of it. And there's, you know, a lot of people, even famous people, you know, for instance, Mel Gibson, he doesn't believe in the Auschwitz, the concentration camp stories.
So you don't believe in what is a fact to most people, that actually 6 million Jews were killed during World War II?
Yeah, I believe in, you know, that some were killed, but 6 million, that number I think is very far-fetched.
But does it matter whether it's 6 million people or if it's actually 6 people?
I guess not to the Jewish race it doesn't, and not to me. You know, like I said, I could care less if it, you know, I guess higher the number the better.
Members of my family, they went to a concentration camp. White Christian Danes. Would that change your mind of putting up another concentration camp called Auschwitz?
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I like you a lot, so yeah, I guess that kind of does make a bit of a difference. I guess I don't know any Jews, and so I certainly wouldn't want to offend you as a friend, as a person. I mean, I hope you wouldn't take it personal that I was throwing it at you, but I guess yeah, that's something I never thought of or took into consideration.
Would you actually, together with me, remove the sign Dachau?
Yeah, if what you say is truth, yeah, and it offends you and your family, yeah, I'd do that. You've been nice to me and my family, and I consider you a friend, and I would definitely do that gesture to you as a friend. I would take it down. Absolutely. Get back. Get back. She is.
How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel good that I did that it makes you feel good, but it kind of embarrasses me that you're my friend, you know, we met, and this whole time that maybe that could make you be feeling different toward me, or it could be, you know, bothering you personally.
You spent the last days with us talking about your life. Has that given you any kind of reflections?
Having my children and seeing the gift and the miracle of life, you know, of my children being born and how much happiness they bring to me, you know. I want to live a good, easy, normal life and not worry. That's the task for me. Being a fuck up and an animal and wild and you know, playing the game, that's easy, you know?
Do you think you'll stay out of prison for the rest of your life?
I sure hope so. Someone messes with my family or my friends or something like that. There's certain things that I would have no problem going to prison for, but you know, that's just a handful of things. But yeah, I pray. I've managed to not go back since 2004, so yeah.
After visiting Jason, I went home. My plan was to return to see him a few months later. But suddenly, Jason vanished from the face of the earth. I had no idea what had happened to him.
Is Steffen?
Yeah, it is.
Do you know what the avenue was that you first came in contact with Jason Barker?
I had written the official page or the official spokesperson of the IKA, the clan group that's out of Dawson, Kentucky. And the spokesperson for this clan, and we're now back in 2014, that was Jason Barker.
Jason Barker is currently in police custody and is not going to get out soon as far as we know.
April 12th, 2019. Steffen, hello my friend, how are you and your family? I am housed at a prison as far away from my family as I can be. I have also drawn very negative attention to myself from the Federal Bureau of Investigations for poor choices in the past that I am trying to overcome and rid my name of any thought of terrorist or type affiliation in any way. I love my country, even though I don't always agree with all the current events that take place. As I pray you already know, my family is my prized possession, and like they should be, my #1 concern. But I will go for now. I hope all is well with you and your family, and I can't wait to see you again. Until next time, Bird.
It had been 4 years since I last saw Jason. I was back in the US, celebrating his release together with his family. Among them, his cousin Travis. 20 years earlier, Travis and Jason brutally attacked the black state trooper together.
Good stuff, man.
It's good catching up.
It's cool to talk to you again and fucking see you and not worry about shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
nothing. Just me and you.
The thing that always pissed me off was the telephone in prison. You only get a 15-minute call always. You got 1 minute remaining. I hated that shit. I can have this, right? Coffee.
And you got sound on both of us?
How's the hair? Will I get some pussy from this? I was telling a guy our story in there about when we got, you know, caught up in that bar fight went wrong situation and told him everything that was, you know, that happened and how shitty it was. And
Yeah, we learned shit from it, though. We learned a lot from that, brother. You know that.
like we were talking last night, sucks that we can't never have a gun, or what, you know, which caused me to go back a second time for the gun videos. It's another great German product.
AR-15, baby. That's what that's all about. Well, that's a fucking boom, buddy.
At first, it was like a kind of like a macho thing. I was like, yeah, buddy, you know, they know I'm not fucking around, and we're fixing to, you know, we're gonna make some waves. I was on a, you know, a watch list, a federal watch list, like a, you know, domestic terrorist type thing. And it scares me because I don't know how far I maybe would have went. You know what I mean? I mean, just to be honest, I don't know how far I might have went, but I just, you know, thank the Lord that, you know, that I made the video shooting the guns, because it got me arrested, it got me sent back to prison, and you know, that time in prison was rough on me, and I did a lot of soul searching. And
has a sweet tooth. We gotta open a abundance.
Man, we got a lot of food out here right now.
This is a banana nut bread that I thought
That's good stuff. Always good.
And we are over abundance of food, guys, so it's still very good.
I honestly paid attention and you know, analyzed my own self in the when I was doing it, and it just slowly made me like realize a lot of stuff. And I've had issues, you know, since I was little, with the way my mom passed away, and the you know, that, and it just put it all together. You know, I definitely have some psych issues.
The authorities had put Jason in a halfway house. He would spend months under observation before getting off probation. And just like the authorities, I was curious to see if Jason had actually learned anything from his time in prison.
So Jason, the last time we saw each other, we agreed to meeting 2 months later. But it's been 4 years now. Why is that?
I'm a convicted felon from the assault charge, the hate crime that I had when I was younger. And part of being a felon in America is you can't possess or own any weapons. And so with me doing that, the videos got seen by law enforcement, and I ended up being charged with it and sentenced to 2.5 years. And I was just recently released.
What was it like being back in prison?
It was horrible. Like, you know, it's always been something that I was never wanting to do again. I mean, I have said countless times, you know, I'd rather die than to go back to prison, you know. And ended up losing the house that we had. My youngest girl, she was just turning almost 5 years old, so I missed out on a lot of things with her. My girlfriend at the time, we were gonna get married. We ended up splitting up because of it. In a few ways, it was actually really good for me. I used to have Hep C. I got treated for the Hep C, and that's gone. And I went through a lot of classes in there that were really beneficial and helped me, like, understand myself and get in touch with myself, you know, so it helped with the transition of changing my life and my views, and I met a lot of super good friends that were, you know, black.
If you fell in love with a black woman, could you have a child with her?
Absolutely, without a doubt. Meet a black woman, fall in love, have children, spend the rest of my life with them, you know. My mind's totally open to any of that now. I don't see color or see that type of thing anymore, which is crazy, because so many years I lived putting that front up, that shield, acting like all that was, you know, dead against every moral I had, and that when in reality, in truth, it wasn't, you know.
The last time we met, you were only wearing t-shirts with SS bolts. You've been very much into old army tattoos and stuff from World War II. I've brought you something a bit more peaceful. Something from my hometown, Copenhagen, Denmark.
Yes.
So I hope that in the future you'll wear this instead of the SS Bolt t-shirt as another proof of your change.
Absolutely, I'll wear it today if you want.
If you feel like it.
I will definitely put it on. I truly do love it. Thank you so much. I love you, man. Thank you so much. I'm so glad
you're welcome.
God put us together and introduced us. This is wonderful. Thank you so much.
Over the years, I had many conversations with Jason about his life. He said he was choosing love over hate. And Jason was definitely a different man, but I still questioned his honesty. Had he actually changed, or was he a domestic terrorist trying to manipulate the authorities and me? I found it hard to believe he was being truthful, especially after what I witnessed 5 years earlier when he sat with his cousin Red.
These are tight ropes, the nigger owner's manual.
Oh, yeah.
These are hilarious. They're funny. It's for the slave people, how to own. It's a nigger's owner manual. That's what it says. Like, for one, it says right here, housing your nigger. Your nigger can be accommodated in cages with stout iron bars. Make sure, however, that the bars are wide enough to push pieces of nigger food through. The rule of thumb is 4 niggers per square yard. So a 15-foot by 13-foot nigger cage can accommodate 200 niggers. You can site a nigger cage anywhere, even on soft ground. Don't worry about your nigger fashioning makeshift shovels out of odd pieces of wood and digging an escape tunnel under the bars of the cage. Niggers never invented a shovel before, and they're not about to now.
When I visited Jason, his cousin Red was constantly around.
Give him the old fucking Swazi flex. Show him your Swazi. See his Swazis on his biceps.
A few weeks earlier, he had been released from prison, and he was now living with Jason and his family.
And it says redneck at the top. Oh,
yeah. That's what I used to go by. God forgives, but the brotherhood doesn't. Or if you ever tell or snitch or you don't do what you're asked, if you ever step out of line, you know what I mean? There's no room for error. Like, there's different tattoos I earned in prison.
He tattoos.
I for like 25 years. I've done some of your stuff, some older stuff on you.
Yeah, he's a really good tattooist.
So, there you go.
I'm just gonna ask you about the tattoos.
These are colors from right in prison. All this, damn near everything. This was done in the free world. This I got in the world, and the rest are, everything I've got pretty much is in prison. We take a simple pen like this, and we tear it down. Take the spring out, and we straighten it out a lot of times. That'll be your needle. You straighten it out, you scrape it on the concrete and sharpen it. You got your motor there, and then you run it to an AC supply to the wall. And then ink you get through Hobbycraft, you can order Badger and Corn Ore, and it has acrylics on it, which is plastic. When you don't, and I've got a couple like that in the summertime. They swell up and itch like hell, but they go away eventually. This is white power.
Red was friendly, but he also had a bad temper. I realized that when a car came to the house.
Du skal skynde dig.
Yeah, I don't know who it is. He's gonna go handle whoever it is.
Oh, don't come past that sign.
One outside to handle something.
As he approached the driver, it seemed Red reached for a gun, but it turned out to be money. Because Red, he had a secret. The trespasser was not an enemy, it was Red's drug dealer.
Yeah, and Charlie got to see it. It scared her bad.
When I was 5 years old, I watched my mother's husband shoot her boyfriend in the chest like 5, 6 times in Las Vegas when I was a little kid. They sent me to a forensic center for it. They said I was a fucking psychopath because I wouldn't show emotion. They sent me in a chair, and they showed a doctor with a straight blade and then a woman, and then he reaches over in front of her and he opens her arm and he cuts it with the straight blade, and they had these things hooked up to you, and your heart's supposed to race and you're supposed to, cringe, and I didn't move at all.
How do you think it has affected your life, witnessing all this violence and even seeing a person get shot?
If I could stand outside of myself and look in, I'm sure I would see the effects that it had, but to me it's normal because it's the way that I've lived. I've had a job I got paid to do one time to follow a guy for 2 or 3 days. That's the time limit I had was like 72 hours, and it only took me about 30, 35, I remember that, to follow him because his patterns were so easy, and I was told ahead of time what his patterns were, and I followed him, and I took care of it. So then I started to build a name, and you got to be careful doing that shit either, because then you'll have people calling you all the time wanting you to do shit that you may not be able to get out of someday. So.
And what was your job on that particular assignment?
Make sure that he knew that what he did was fucked up, and I left something there for him to let him know who it was from. That's what they asked me to do, so I left a handkerchief there with some embroidery on it. And
Red had been in and out of prison his entire life, always for brutal crimes.
I expect to go back. It sounds fucked up to say, man, but I'll be honest with you, I expect to go back because I'm an addict, man. I'm an addict in recovery, so to speak, you know what I mean? But if you're gonna get high, you'll end up committing crime, and you will go to fucking jail. And I know that this fucking demon inside is just chilling right now, and I guarantee it won't be probably a few days from today where I can't take it anymore, and I'll have to go get some heroin. And when I do, it's my family turns their back. I mean, they have to. They got to walk away. They don't want to see it, 99% don't ever be an addiction, and you end up dying from it. So it's just part of life, and I've accepted that myself, but my family hasn't accepted that yet, and so.
I could not help feeling sorry for Red. I kept thinking about what his life could have been like if he had not witnessed his father shoot another man. But Red was not the only one in the family carrying a childhood trauma.
This is my mother. Her name was Rita. My father, I guess, he was quite the fucking piece of shit. Was abusive to her. So she left him and divorced him when I think I was a year old. Cleared herself of him and his poison, and didn't want nothing to do with him. And, in turn, matter of fact, we got in a fight or the first time I met him because I had so much anger and just things,
In a physical fight?
Yeah, yep. We were drinking, and yeah, I kind of made a fight happen between us, and I got in a fight with him. This is my mother. She passed away when she was 25, so, you know, I don't have a whole lot of pictures, but that's her there. That's her with my grandparents. That's her. This is me as a baby with my mother holding me. It's kind of a hard picture to see, but some other ones of me and her, you can't see her too well, but there's one that I kind of like of her holding me. And quite a few different pictures. I see my daughter, so I like how she resembles my daughter when she was younger.
If she could look down, your mom, watching you, do you think she would feel happy about the way that your life has developed?
I'm sure probably not with the hate and racial part. I'm sure she wouldn't be happy with that. She would want me to live a peaceful, happy life and not have any anger or any hate or any of that. You know, I'm sure she would. She was the kind of person, from, you know, what I remember and what I've been told from relatives, you know, she was just happy and a fun person, and, you know, had a temper at times when she needed it, but more or less was just an outgoing, happy people person, talkative. And so, yeah, I doubt she would be too proud of that part of my life. But actually, looking at pictures of her is hard for me, so I tend to not do it. It hurts. It hurts me too much to really do it, so.
It's cute. I love them. Look at, they're so cute. Come on.
Yeah.
And Greece.
That's what they call a piggy in Denmark, is Greece?
And Greece.
Yeah? You're just a goofball. You're just a goofball. The water's really clear today. Let's see if we can catch something. I don't know. Uncle Red's pole's sounding pretty rough.
You caught it. You caught it, buddy. You did that. That was puppy.
Don't sit all the way down in it. I don't want you to get all wet where you get cold. Listen, I want you to work on being not being so sassy and talking so mean. You hear me?
I can talk for a minute.
I know, I said talking, but I said sassy. You've been talking pretty sassy lately.
You want to join this thing?
I wonder if Uncle Red, he can't know his fishing pole's messed up, because he wouldn't have told us to take it if he knew it was messed up. I'd have grabbed mine for us.
Do you remember how you felt that very night where you lost your mother?
Yeah, actually, I remember the whole night like it was 10 minutes ago. We were traveling down the road. It was my mother, me, and her boyfriend, and they had gotten in a verbal argument. She had him let us out of the car, and we were walking down the road at night. I was holding her hand, and we were walking, and a truck had came and didn't see us. He didn't know that what he had done at first. I remember coming to in the ditch, and I remember him slamming the truck door, you know, and saying like, "A fucking deer." You know, he thought he had hit a deer. And I remember coming out of the ditch and telling him, you know, "You hit my mom, you hit my mom." And then, you know, the guy started panicking, and, you know, and we found her up ahead of us a little bit. You know, she must have went over, you know, kind of on the hood a little bit, and then when he stopped, it kind of threw her forward. And I knelt down by her, you know, and cradled her head. You know, she had a little bit of blood coming out of her nose and some out of her ear, and she was trying to breathe, but she couldn't. She was inhaling a little bit, but she couldn't exhale. it wasn't long. It was just a few seconds, and you know, she took her last breath, you know, in my arms, and so that was you know, really fucked up for me, and it made me, you know, like I said, I didn't have, you know, there was no counseling or no way for me. So I guess I just dealt with it however a 7-year-old would fucking deal with it, you know what I mean? So it really fucked my head up.
Brother Red was with us. Me, Brother Red. It's the monster truck. I don't know if I got any videotape of my truck.
In general, Americans drive fast and stupid, and there's a lot of road rage. I mean, they even made a law over it. And road rage is, you know, people, like, say that guy driving around me. In other places, people might, you know, okay, he's in a hurry, big deal, you know, which really, it didn't bother me. He passed me, it really didn't do nothing. But just because I'm so American, you know what I mean, it made me mad that he got in front of me, like that right there. Like, that makes me mad. Like, I want to fucking run him off. Red fucking said, fuck you. Red gave him the finger. Throughout my whole life, it's been, you know, very hands-on and anger, you know. I train my mind to anger, to get mad.
There definitely ain't no nigger live up here.
You never know, there could be some nigger basketball players or fucking baseball players live up here.
Listen, and I'm drinking some George Jones and a little bit of Coke. And if we don't like niggas, I wanna be a hoe.
He knows you're fucked up.
He's going.
Hello? Hello? I love you, brother. We're fucking smoking dope. Yeah.
Seek anything. Go.
Seek Heil! Seek Heil!
White power!
White power!
White power!
White power!
And I fucked a monkey and he couldn't climb a rope. And I stuck this white nigga
in his fucking throat.
Well, I met the Klan the first time. I was young. I was probably about 10 years old, and they had a local guy who is a very, very important man in the movement, and he was, you know, part of the Klan, and his name was Robert Miles. But he was very, very outspoken, very well known. The way my uncles portrayed it and talked about it, you know what I mean? It just kind of stuck with us as kids, like, wow, you know, the guns and the cross and the Klansmen, and I'd like to check that out, and, you know. And then I met him once. I went to a rally, me and an older cousin. He did rallies quite often in the town hall at the old courthouse building, which is in the center of town. He would come to this courthouse, and him and some of his Klansmen would be posted up on these steps and draw a crowd, and they would, you know, preach and talk their propaganda, and I'm sure they used it, you know, for recruitment, but to get yourself out, you know, to try to leave, that's a major disrespect and a no-no.
So you're afraid that they would go and take care of you?
I mean, it's a possibility. I know for a fact that I'm on a list in the penitentiary and out here in the streets. I know I know for sure there's people that want to, you know, as far as beat me up and as far as kill me, I'm sure.
Here, just, you know, with me, in the picture from that side. If you need some... I do have shots.
I can answer this. It's Red, right? What's up, Red? At the courthouse in Howell.
Stand right outside my house. Fucking dogs from my house. Pull the gun out.
Fuck that. Call the law, dude. Why do that? Why even get involved? It ain't gonna stop. He'll probably shoot you. Yeah. Yeah. Call the law, Red. Don't fight with the dude. If he already put a gun in your face, you go fighting him, he's gonna take a chance in shooting you. All right, bye.
What's going on?
Red got into it with the black neighbor behind our apartments and their trailers, and the dude just stuck a gun in his face.
When?
Just now. He's like, hurry up and get here, call blockhead, dude. No, call the motherfucking police, dude.
Yeah. So he wanted you guys to go down there and fight this guy?
Yeah, he said, I'm gonna fucking beat this motherfucker's brains out when you get here. But I want you here because I'm sure he's gonna call his boys, holler at blockhead. His nickname in the park, they call him Nazi Nate. You know what I'm saying? They see the tattoos and this and that, so I'm definitely nervous for my brother's safety, but it's far enough away, I can't get there right now anyway. If something's gonna happen, it's gonna happen, but he said he was gonna call the police after I told him to, so hopefully that'll be handled and no one gets hurt.
What would you have done 2 years ago?
Called blockhead and rounded up a couple other brothers, and we'd went and... Yeah, it wouldn't have been good. There'd have been a missing person, for sure.
Jason's reaction to Red's call was perhaps another proof of Jason's new ways, that he no longer solved problems with violence. And Red, he ended up resolving the situation by calling the police.
But we fucking love you! All of you! Yeah. We can't show this to our fucking wives, though. Because they'll be wondering, why weren't you home? Or lick my balls.
Hey, Bird, why don't you show me your new tat?
I got 2 new ones, brother. You can see from there?
Yeah.
Caterpillar one right there. Another red dead.
Mm-hmm.
See it?
Yep.
And we just did the machine gun, the sniper rifle.
Oh, yeah. That's cool, man.
And then it's a World War II propaganda. There's an SS soldier. I got so many fucked up tattoos on me already. One of the main tattoos, you know, the biggest one that you can see, and I'm getting that covered. It was put there for the purpose of offending people and drawing attention. I never wear shorts because of it. And I'm in the process of getting all of them covered. So yeah, it's from top of the letter to bottom of the letter, Red. You know, I can't wait to get it covered. It's just another step in my change.
It's super offensive, man. That is super offensive to a lot of people, not just blacks, you know, not just Jews, but, you know, people look, I would have never have guessed that Steffen had, you know, someone in his family that had to bear witness to that horrible fucking shit, you know, have the disdain and hatred and memories that he does of that sign, you know, that's unfortunate, man.
Yeah, those dimensions are perfect, Red, that are on it.
Oh, yeah,
exactly what we need. So that's where you're wanting to line it up, all right?
Okay.
Glad you can laugh.
This may hurt a little.
Yeah.
I feel some slight discomfort.
3 ounces of ink pounded into my skin. That does not sound good. You fucker. Tell me just before you fucking do it so I don't jump.
Just before I do it. Easy. How's that feel?
You know, I've felt better. It's gonna be a big piece to heal, ain't it, Red?
Oh, yeah.
Now you're getting the tattoo covered up. How does it feel?
Yeah, it's pretty tender spot. It hurts, but it's a good pain because it's for a good reason.
Feels good to be putting out swastikas and hateful shit, man. Covering up that shit feels good for a change too, man.
I'm glad it's finally happening, and I'm getting one step closer to ridding my body of those bad tattoos I got. And you know, my brother's doing the work, so that's another good thing, and just another good transition.
That's all you're gonna see is what's in the eyes, and I'm gonna take and put gray smoke through that. And then I'll do negative shading here, here, there, and there. And this is all gonna be style black. So I guarantee you will not be able to tell that it was there, and there's no way.
Very artistic.
Very artistic? What's that mean?
I have been, and I do right now, tell my story a lot to people. And if there's been many conversations about it, where I tell people and explain to them the things I've done and seen and what it's like to be changing. And
as Jason was covering up his tattoos, his friend Blockhead felt a greater need to flash his radical beliefs.
Offending other people is my specialty. And just for the world to see, that's why I put the SS bolts on there.
It was clear that the two old friends were going in different directions.
I definitely feel there's a bigger need for the white supremacy, in America more than ever. Look at the shit happening on the news. Everybody's talking about the Civil War, stuff like that. We're heading right down that road. Ain't no doubt about it.
How do you feel about Jason stepping out of the movement?
Well, I don't blame him to a point with the past he's had, and he's got a lot of eyes on him at all times, and it's caused him some grief along the way. But I haven't had the headaches that he's had to deal with. So as far as me, I'm just breaking the surface. So I'm just breaking the surface on it. We're gonna be, like I said, you'll see, it'll be in the city near you real soon.
As Jason was parting ways with his old affiliates, he started meeting new friends. Jason met Cedric through his old friend Coos, who was also a former member of the white supremacy movement.
Yeah. What would be your advice to me as far as, meeting black people, as far as telling them my story? Would you keep that, probably held that back until the person gets to know me for who I am, and then maybe later bring it into a conversation?
Yeah.
Because I always worry
I wouldn't
about
just throw
that.
it out there.
Yeah, no.
I wouldn't just throw it out there, because, you know what I'm saying, you know how people is.
Yeah,
especially you getting to know them.
And they do the first impression. Right. So if I go telling them the worst thing of my life, then,
You gotta get comfortable with a person first. Like you know somebody when you first meet somebody what the vibe is.
Yeah.
So
common ground.
Yeah, you know.
Well, Secretary, I want to thank you again.
No problem, bro. No problem.
When I last saw Red covering Jason's tattoo, I noticed a very different man. After having been in and out of prison for almost 20 years, Red was now enjoying life as a free man living in a trailer park.
You also grow pot here in your house. Should we go and take a look at that?
Sure, yeah.
The convict and former hitman for the skinhead movement had now become a peaceful and kind of productive citizen.
It's a fun little hobby, grid. Something that all these will go outside.
He had gotten off hard drugs, and he was now a father.
How old was your son at that time?
I want to say about 90 days, man. He couldn't have been too much more than 4 months, maybe 5 months old.
You told me once that they did a test on you in prison, where they concluded that you're actually diagnosed as a psychopath.
Yeah.
Are you still a psychopath?
I definitely was then. I definitely, I had murderous thoughts every day. I'd wake up thinking of negative shit, and I'd go to bed thinking about what I was gonna do to someone if I can get out of that cage, you know? Not now, there's no way, man. I got sympathy and empathy, and I think I would be a pretty damn good example, man, that if you choose to shut off that, you know, the negative shit in your head, man, and just see people for what they are, you know? Because at the end, it's not gonna matter.
You've actually changed to a better person, an empathetic father. What can bring a tear to your eye?
My son. The thought of him, anything negative happened to him. Or even just my little way of life, which, you know, it ain't shit. It's a one-bedroom little trailer, but it's mine, and I love it. And my old lady, she's fucking nuts, but I love her too. And my son, he's everything. He's everything. Even when he's being just meaner than shit, he's still everything. Yeah, he's amazing. He's literally amazing. I miss him. It sucks. What are you gonna do, you know? I spent my whole life working for him. She takes him every other weekend. But such is life, you know? Just gotta deal with it, keep going to work, paying the fucking bills. And it's not as bad as what it used to be.
When I started writing my book about Jason, I expected his story to have a tragic outcome. But I had seen him remove his hateful tattoos and even embrace black people. But would he also be able to embrace his own fate?
This is actually the spot where me and my mother was hit and she was killed. Pedestrian vehicle accident when I was 7 years old. This is where my life changed completely.
Changed in what way?
I just lost my mother, and you know, the only person that I'd known, and my comfort, and just everything. Because I never knew my dad, and was an only child. So when she was gone, it was just traumatic. Just the worst thing I've ever had. When, you know, really caused me all the psych problems I have today, and depression and anxiety, and it's where all the hate extended from. I just mad at the world, mad at life. You know what I mean? For a while, I didn't believe in God, and yeah, it was just horrible for a 7-year-old boy to witness and to actually, you know, hold his mom's head while she takes her last breath, you know, fighting for breath. And you know what I mean? It was horrible.
Do you feel like you can still become a man that you'll be proud of?
Yeah, yep, that's what I'm doing right now. Like I said, I've slowly been changing and striving for that for the last, you know, 4 years. So I'm going to, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna, I should have did it a long time ago, but It is what it is. Now I just got to live what I want. I want the, you know, I'm 42 years old, so I want to think that, you know, I'm more than positive I'm halfway past my life. So what I have left, this second half, I want to live right. Like I wish I'd have lived the first half, you know? It's just painful. Like I said, I don't like being here. I always think back, and I'm ashamed, like, man, she wouldn't have wanted me to turn out anything like I did. Just can't help but think my life might have been different, you know? I don't know. Sorry.
No, it must be tough coming back. Give me a hug. Are you okay?
Yeah. Jason Barker, reformed racist.
When I said goodbye to Jason by the roadside, I expected that was the last time I'd see him. But 2 years later, there were questions that still haunted me. I needed to see him one more time, and I was now back in Michigan riding in his old Ford.
The Brandenburg Gate, Germany. I'd love to drive it underneath it. That would be my dream destination, to cruise around Europe in my 1989 Ford F-150. Seeing Europe. I used to daydream about doing this when I was in prison and miserable and sad and missing home, and this is the stuff I would miss. This is what brings peace to me. This is the kind of thing that I like to do, you know?
So, I've let everybody know that Christmas Eve is here.
Throw it all together. Decorations and junk food and Christmas movies.
I hate Christmas movies. I'm just kidding.
Andrew's a girlfriend that I have. I first met her when I was around 17, 18 years old. We really got along and, like, really fell in love. And I got in trouble and went to prison the first time. And, you know, we split up. And since I got out this last time, I was able to meet her and you know, offer more than I ever was before. And we fell right back in love. And just great. She's my best friend.
What are these guys for?
I don't know.
See where this is going, right, girls?
Yeah.
Us against her. She helps me a lot. Like when I slip up, she helps to pull me back together, and she makes things very easy for me with certain things that I struggle with, and she's just an amazing person.
This is why I gave up on you.
You're up, honey.
3.
Yes.
Yes.
No, you can't.
As I thought the story was coming to an end, I realized Jason never told me clearly why he decided to change from a man full of hate to one of acceptance.
I decided to change as a person because I didn't want to lose my children in my life. They're, you know, the most important thing to me. And I definitely want to be the person and the man that, and the son that my mother would be looking down and be proud of. Yeah, that's why I changed. Made a lot of bad decisions. I'm thankful that the women that I picked, you know, to have children with, they were, you know, good, loving, caring people, because they all raised our children to not be that way. They know that the way I was dead wrong, and if anything, it pushed them in not being that way.
I'm Mr. Christmas Bear.
Charlie makes up her own rules as she goes, though.
No, I don't.
So...
Not you.
Oh,
yeah.
sorry. Karma.
And you're both gonna take this angel right here, and you're gonna put it on the very top.
My older children, you know, my son doesn't speak with me. It's gonna take probably a long time if he ever does.
Grab the wing, sis.
He's ashamed of me. You know, he's the only son I have, and he changed his last name because of it.
All right, so it's facing mommy. Say Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry 2008.
So what
My turn?
Yeah.
is on the agenda for Christmas? What are we wanting? Neither one of you sent me a list.
I told you that I want concert tickets. But is it my turn? But maybe like I kind of want some like Western decor.
Wait.
I had a conversation with my daughter. She started it off with asking me if I was homophobic, you know?
You didn't get Andrea sent back?
Her older sister's gay. And I love my kids more than life itself. And for them to be happy and in love is all I want for them. So how's work going, Cheyenne?
It's been good.
Good. I was wondering if you would sit down with me and talk for a little bit. There's a few things I wanted to talk with you about. When I went to prison this last time, the FBI was involved. And they were looking at me thinking I was gonna do some domestic terrorist type stuff. Really bad, you know, and I, you know, decided to turn my life around, that I didn't want to live that way anymore. And
If you cry, I'm gonna cry.
yeah, so I just, I wanted to be in your life. And I changed for you kids and for myself, you know? I don't want to live that way anymore.
When I was younger and like everyone told me how you were, it was like, it grew me to like hate racist people and anyone who like hated anybody, so it made me like a super loving person. So like, even though it was bad for you, it like turned me into the person who I am today, of loving everybody no matter what. It was painful to not have a dad in my life, just because, I don't know, I just wanted like what all my friends had growing up.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I wish I could change it. If you have issues or problems in life, I want you to be able to trust me and know that I'm gonna give you good advice and look out for you. Yeah, I just want you to know that it means, you know, the world to me that you're giving me, you know, the opportunity to be in your life and be the dad that I want to be and that you deserve. I love you.
I love you too.
Like I said before, it's
fucking wasted years I can't never get back. And then the things I did to people were, you know, just the shit I did. It hurts my feelings. It genuinely fucking hurts my heart that I wasted that much time of my life and hurt people and hurt my family and hurt myself. It's just like, fuck, I'm 45 years old. I should be way far. I can't never get any of that time back. Fucking hurts, it really does. And before, if I had these kind of feelings, I would be mad, like, fuck, crack a beer, yep. I'm gonna tear something up tonight, guarantee that. And now I cry.
Without me getting as emotional as you, hopefully not. But, you know, I think that you and I, 7 years ago, we just set out on an amazing journey, doing this together. But as I said, I didn't necessarily believe. And I was actually thinking, is Jason just trying to manipulate me and the FBI so he gets to where he wants to go, becoming a martyr? But I must say today, I trust you and believe you 110%.
I appreciate that. I'm very glad we met, very glad we crossed paths, and in so many ways, I mean, you're a part of it. You're definitely a part of the change, you know? And yeah, I'm honored, and I'm glad. I thank you that you believe in me. I really do.
Yeah. Give me a hug.
Before we ended the story, I only had one last question to ask.
The FBI suspected you of committing domestic terror. How close were you to committing domestic terror or a serious attack?
I had definitely had moments by myself and with others talking about, you know, really causing a ruckus and really, really hurting people. And well, I don't know what would have happened. I was miserable. My mental health was not good. I was depressed, hateful, and yeah.
But did you at that time dream of becoming perhaps a martyr like McVeigh is to some people?
Yeah, I'm sure I did, yeah. I wanted to leave, at one time I wanted to leave a mark. I wanted to do some horrible things and have people know it was me that did it. Like McVeigh, like, you know, these mass shooters, you know, it's just, that's the line of thought patterns you have when you're that far gone and you're full of hate and you believe it and live it. When I was in that frame of mind and in that life, I definitely wanted to be a martyr. I definitely wanted to do things, and I wanted to be extreme, and I wanted to be one of the worst.